Hello, I'm Giovanna, International Clinical Manager from Vincennes Medical. In this class today, we're going to talk about ACROMA. First, the laser, the science, and the technology. We can see here in the absorption curve the two wavelengths that we're going to work with ACROMA, 1064 and 532. When we work with a laser and a handpiece, we have a rod and a power source to stimulate the rod to produce the laser light. With ACROMA, we have two hot lasers, and because of that, we have more energy, more power, and more results, especially when we are comparing with another lasers in handpiece. We switch lasers in handpiece, okay? Here we can see what is key suite. We have a crystal with electronic control next to the laser crystal, and this makes the light to pulse optically, getting light energy in a really fast pulse. This pulse is going to be in nanoseconds. With this pulse in nanoseconds, we can see here a graphic that compares milliseconds and nanoseconds. Nanoseconds, we have too much energy if we are comparing with milliseconds, okay? And we have, when we work with nanoseconds, we are going to work with photoacoustic effect. Photoacoustic effect, the light gets to the skin so fast that there's no time for heat. And we have more mechanical effect. We can see here a graphic that is comparing or showing to us the difference between the photoacoustic effect, mechanical effect, and the thermal effect that normally we can see in the other lasers. It's very important for us to know the pulse duration, okay? When we work with long pulses, we're going to work in milliseconds, and milliseconds is 10 a minus 3 of the second. We're going to do hair removal or treatment of the vessels, for example. When we work with microseconds, it's 10 minus 6 of the second. We're going to work with rejuvenation, onychomycosis. In our EthereaMX is our dynamics mode. Okay, we can see this time of shot in dual mode too. With key suited, we are going to work with nanoseconds. It's 10 a minus 9 of the seconds. We are going to work with tattoo and melasma. And we have picoseconds at the market. So picosecond work with 10 a minus 12 of the seconds. Tattoo and melanosis too. And we have femtoseconds. It's 10 a minus 15 of the second. And this kind of laser we can see just in ophthalmology, okay? And talk more about our ACROMA laser. Here we can see the wavelength. As I told you in the beginning of the presentation, we are going to work with 1064 nanometers and 532 nanometers. We have spot sizing 3 millimeters, 5 millimeters, and 7 millimeters, all then with 1064 nanometers. And we have 3 millimeters in 532. We have the optional. We can work with 5 millimeters in 532, and we can work with 9 millimeters in 1064, fractional with 100 microthermal zones. Maximum fluences, as you can see here, and the pulse duration, it's fixed and 20 nanoseconds. Here we have the screen, and we can see here the energy. Energy, we have just 4 steps, 600, 900, 1,200, and 1,500. Okay, so it's very easy to adjust according to the treatment. Pulse duration is fixed in 20 nanoseconds, I'm sorry, so we can't change. In the spot size, we can see here with automatic recognizer, and 7 millimeter, the spot size with 7 millimeters in 1064 we call it collimated light. And 3 and 5 millimeters in 1064-2 and 532, they are focused. The difference appears when you are going to apply it. Normally, when you are going to use 7 millimeters, we can do with some distance to the skin. But the others, we need to keep the contact with the skin during all the treatments. Here we can see the indications of Key-Sweet laser in our ACROMA. So we can use for tattoo removal. We are going to discuss each one is separate, okay? But you can work with pigmentary lesions, removal of thin and light hair. And thin and light hair, we have a different kind of treatment here. Here, we're going just to reduce the speed of the hair growth, okay? We can use for laser toning and black peel, and we can use for melasma. Let's start to talk about tattoo removal. Tattoo removal, normally it's a challenge because it depends on the tattoo maker, the quality of the pigment, the depth, and the color, okay? Here we can see the mechanism of the tattoo removal. Normally, the Key-Sweet laser blows the pigment, and then the macrophage is going to phagocytize this pigment. So we need the answer of our body, okay? We can see here a table with different kind of lasers, the wavelengths, and the color that they can treat the tattoo. For us, it's very important to look at 1064 and the YAG and 532. 1064, we are going to treat black and dark blue tattoos, and with 532, black and dark blue too, but we can treat red and orange too. As you can see here, if we need to treat a lot of colors, we're going to need a lot of kind of lasers, okay? That's why, and it's another point that tattoo removal is very difficult. It's very important to talk with the patient before the treatment, because as I told you, sometimes the tattoo maker is more important than our laser in itself. Okay, so it's important to work and to talk with the patient. Here we can see the parameters. Normally we start with 5 millimeters with 1064. According to reduce of the pigment, it's going to be necessary to change the spot size and change to 3 millimeters. 5 millimeters is less aggressive, 3 millimeters is more aggressive. So we start in 1064, less aggressive. According to reducing the pigment, it's going to be necessary to increase the energy and change the spot size, as I already told you. So after we treat with 3 millimeters in 1064, and after we can see that there is no result with 3 millimeters in 1064, we can change to 5 millimeters in 532 if you have it, but if you don't have, no problem, we can go directly to 3 millimeters in 532, okay? And if we have another color of the pigment, for example, if we have a red pigment, we can use 532 normally in the beginning of the treatment, okay? The number of sessions is big, as you can see here. We can normally we talk about 6 or 15 treatments with a month or 30 days apart with each treatment, but this number of sessions can change according to the pigment, okay? It's a painful procedure. Normally we need a numbing cream, and it's very important to remove it before the treatment. If you have a cooling system, it's very important to put together, because the cooling system, in our case, in our Siberian, it's going to reduce the pain. It makes the treatment more comfortable for the patient. Normally, you suggest to start the treatment with low fluence and the bigger spot size, And then we are going to reduce the spot size, and we are going to increase the energy, okay? Because normally in the beginning we have a lot of pigment, so it's not necessary too much energy. And working in this way, we're going to reduce the risk of side effects. Normally we can see a frost effect right after the treatment. Sometimes it's not going to happen, this frost effect, but we need to hear the noise of the pigment flowing. Okay, it's very characteristic when you are working with a K-switch laser. And after treatment, we suggest just calm cream. And it's important to avoid anti-inflammatory cream because we need the inflammatory process to remove the pigment, okay? We can see adverse effects, but normally it's occurring to the skin, and starting with low energy and increasing this energy during the treatment, normally we are going to reduce the risk of side effect. And it's normally we can see dyschromy, we can see changes of the skin as hypertrophic scars or keloids. Okay, it's very important. If you can do some tests before to treat, it's okay. But if you can't, no problem at all, okay? Just start with low energy and going to increasing according to the reduce of the pigment. And let's start to talk about pigmentary lesions. There's a lot of kind of pigmentary lesions. Normally we suggest to use 1064, but sometimes it's necessary to use 532. But 532, we need to pay attention with the phototype, okay? Normally 532, we just recommended to use in phototypes 1, 2, or 3. For melanosis, we can see that normally we suggest to start with 1064 in 5 millimeters. It's quite the same as we talk about, during the tattoo removal treatments, okay? We're going to start with the lowest, and then we're going to increase according the pigment is going to get more light, okay? So we start with 5 millimeters in 1064. Then we can reduce to 3 millimeters in 1064. If the patient has phototype 1, 2, 3, we can use 5 millimeters in 532, or we can use 3 millimeters in 532. Okay, if we don't have the 5 millimeters, no problem, start with 3 millimeters after the treatment with 3 millimeters. Normally we suggest 4 to 6 sessions with 30 days apart. To keratosis, we need a cauterization effect. So we're going to start with 5 millimeters, 532, if you have it. And if you don't have it, start with 3 millimeters and 532, okay? But take care with the phototype. The interval between the treatments, 30 days apart. For dark circles, we can do treatment with 7 millimeters in 1064, and we can change to 5 millimeters in 1064. In this case, just 2 spot size are indicated, okay? But we have another spot size, it's a 9 millimeters in 1064 fractional with 100 microthermal zones that it was developed to treat just this area. So the result is very good. But normally we can see some petechias when we work with this spot size, but the result is very good. With a 7 millimeters in 1064, no downtime, okay? Just a little redness. Number of sessions for to wait. We can do 15 days or 20 days apart, and we can associate with another cream. We can do a drug delivery here to increase the result. For hyperchromia, normally it's post-inflammatory, so we can't get the inflammatory effect here. So we're going to start with 7 millimeters, a light treatment. And if it's necessary, we can change to 5 millimeters, both in 1064. Okay, it's very important to avoid the other spot size, and we need to avoid too aggressive treatments here. Number of sessions 4 to 8, 15 to 20 days apart, and it's important to do the drug delivery to help to reduce the lesions, okay? And about laser toning. Laser toning we are going to do for spores, for comedons, for oily skin, the texture of the skin with better after the laser toning, okay? And for fine wrinkles, just fine, okay? Here we have the parameter. Normally we suggest to use the 7mm 1064. We can start with 600, and we can increase according to the treatment, but normally we can start with 1,200 millijoules. No problem at all, okay? There's no restriction about the phototype, tanned skin. It's very safe and with no pain during the treatment. And we can increase the results putting a carbon paste. Normally we call here in Brazil black pill, but we saw with different names in different countries. We apply paste, and we are going to do the laser toning, okay? And after that, we are going to see that the pigment blows, and we get a stronger laser toning treating with this way. But here is very important to put not too much paste, okay? And we need to put a film or a plastic film to protect the lens during the procedure. We are going to treat with 7mm 1064 and 600 millijoules. We can do a treatment together with and the YAG in our dynamics mode, and we call this treatment putting them together as laser Gemini. Gemini is something in Brazil like twins, because we're going to work with the same wavelength with two different time of shots. So we start with P-switch with our ACROMA, and right after we put our dynamics with our handpiece long pulse, and it we're going to work with short pulse, okay? Putting them together, we're going to treat melanosis and breathing effect in general, and we can use for flushing, reduction, and for toning, and the results putting them together is better than to put each one in separate, okay? We can say about 6 to 8 sessions, no downtime, no problem with phototype, no problem with tanned skin. It's very good, the results very good. And about melasma, we have a lot of wavelengths at the market that these wavelengths normally they said that can treat melasma, okay? Our Etherea, our IPL handpiece has approved by the FDA for treat melasma, but it's not good, okay? We need to avoid to do IPL for melasma. Even we have in the approval of the FDA, okay? Normally, the treatment for melasma starts with high energy. And there's a lot of publications saying that it gets worse after the treatment because they high energy. So with melasma, we need to avoid the thermal and inflammatory effects during the procedure. So they start to do a lot of researches again, but treating melasmas with low fluency, okay, with low energy. And the result was better doing this way. So normally we suggest to do the treatment with low energy, okay? For melasma, we normally say that less is more. In the theory of the treatment of melasma with key switch laser is to reduce the melasma, reducing the melanocyte dendrites without an inflammatory reaction. The results better when we put together with drug delivery. Okay, so we apply a chroma and right after do a drug delivery. Normally we suggested to start with 7 millimeters and keep it. We're going just to change the energy if it's necessary. Normally we suggest to start with 600, and if it's necessary, we can change to 900, but normally that's it. Normally this 2 energy are enough to have a good result. The number of sessions is big. Normally we suggest 8 to 12 sessions. Start with a week, a treatment 1 for a week. After 4 sessions or 3 sessions, we're going to increase the time between the sessions with 15 days. And then we're going to do more 3 or 4 sessions. Then we're going to increase the interval again with a month, okay, 30 days apart. We can put together with ProDeep. You have a good result starting with ProDeep, doing 1 or 2 sessions with ProDeep with 30 days apart. And right after ProDeep, right after these 2 sessions, in another month, we start to do ACROMA. And we can do, we're going to see that's necessary last session, putting them together, not in the same session. We're going to do first ProDeep, 2 sessions with ProDeep, and right after start the sessions with ACROMA. Okay, in another session we can do 4 sessions with ACROMA or maybe 8 sessions with ACROMA, but we can see the results going to be better putting the handpiece together. If you don't have Key-Sweet, if you don't have ProDeep, no problem, you can do just ACROMA, but it's important to do the drug delivery after the treatment. Okay, and the number of sessions going to be, as I told you before, 8 to 12 sessions. Talking about care and maintenance in our ACROMA, it's very important to clean the spot size after the use with alcohol. We have a warranty of this handpiece with 1 million of shots. Okay. And it's very important to clean, as I already told you before. Here we have a video just to showing how to clean and how dirty it could be if you don't put the plastic to do the carbon peel, okay? If you need to see something more about how to clean it, all the maintenance of the equipment or the handpiece, you can see in our YouTube channel or in our site, bidinslaseracademy.com. Thank you.